Hey sports fans, Coach Nick here, and welcome to BBallBreakdown and our latest show, We Got Next, which went so well the first time that we decided to have two cameras and more cool stuff happening for you. So this is Rob, Worldwide Wob. What's going on?
You know, we got my flip-flops got such a good response the first time that we did this that I feel like we had to come back and do it again. I even wore the same exact pair of khakis.
They do, and I think they smell the same way they do today as they did last time. So that's good. Keep it up.
What do you want to talk about?
I don't know. I feel like something about basketball would be good.
Well, right now is in the thick of March Madness, there's this conversation I feel like there's a war starting between NBA loyalists and college basketball traditionalists and purists. It started when they changed the shot clock from 35 seconds to 30. Everyone that's like a diehard college basketball fan was like, I hate it, I hate it, I hate it. Anything that makes us remotely closer to the NBA, they were trying to pick up the pace of play a little bit, prevent those old school Catholic League type of games where you hold the ball for an entire quarter because there's no shot clock. Are we approaching a college basketball versus NBA atmosphere, or at this point are they like two completely different sports?
I think as far as the level of play goes, they're two completely different sports no matter what. It's never going to be as fast as the NBA, even if the shot clock was 24. They're just slower, not as skilled athletes. It's just the nature of the beast. So I think that's going to be an issue going forward. And I feel like as we go forward, it's only a matter of time until some sort of other minor league will appear that's not college. I mean, Ben Simmons is a great example. The guy didn't go to class probably once, and he knows he wasn't, So those kind of issues. Now, again, one and dones, there's probably, 15 of those, 20 tops. Mm-hmm. But I'm hoping that we see, like, the D-League become a minor league, and then what we'll have is college basketball as it used to be. These guys play 4 years, and we get good and entertaining basketball.
Well, let me tell you, no one is watching college basketball because the players have the best fundamentals in the world. It's an amateur collegiate sport for a reason because there's human error involved. That's why we love March Madness, because we know they're going to inbound the ball to the corner with the game on the line. Someone's going to either travel, turn it over, and there's going to be a game-winning bank shot three.
Or how about a game-winning layup because they leave the guy wide open.
Because they don't know how to switch a screen after calling a timeout.
Yeah.
It's the emotion, it's the drama, the human error, and the passion that drives college basketball. And coming from a North Carolina fan, I can't tell you the last time I genuinely hated a Duke team. And that's a problem. I miss J.J. Redick being a 4-year senior, John Shire, Wojciechowski, those damn white guys that slap on the floor and they look snotty and elitist and all that. I hated all of them.
Wait, you don't think Grayson Allen fits that?
This is his second year, but to be a true Dookie that all of America hates, you have to be a 4-year senior, you have to cry on the bench. Grayson Allen's got a little swag to him, right? I'm looking for the flopping traditional Dookie. Okay. That's out there slapping floors and stuff.
And by the way, I like Grayson Allen. I don't know, but he just has that there's something about it when you watch it in the free throw line. He's getting ready to shoot.
He's cocky. He's the cockiest player on the floor, no matter who is out there at all times. Mm-hmm. He's progressing to be a very hateable Dookie, which is good for the game. College basketball is better when everybody hates Duke.
Okay.
End of story.
Yeah.
But that's why Duke alums and Duke fans, they cling to Duke because you get to be the heel. You get to be the villain. There's benefit in that. Mm-hmm. But I miss the days when Duke won the title last year, but I had no reason to hate Okafor or Kyrie Irving or even Ingram this year. Right. Their players are genuinely good and they're not hateable. And that's a problem with college basketball.
It is.
I have no emotional attachment to players anymore. So real quick, how do you fix that? Right now we have the one and done rule. So I know a player's name for a year and then they're in the NBA. If I'm a college basketball lover that isn't as passionate about the NBA as let's say you and I are, I think you have to get rid of the one and done rule to bring back the mainstream basketball audience.
I see. So to get those guys going out of high school straight to the NBA.
Now, if they're going to come out of high school, I love Adam Silver's talked about it. You would have to play 1 year minimum abroad or do the NFL at least 2 years in college.
Oh, okay.
So if you sign up to go to college, you're there for 2 years. I think that makes college basketball genuinely a better product.
I agree. And it's funny, I got killed on Twitter when I talked about the Warriors and all their multiple years of college experience and why that's helping them so much to do what they do. I asked Luke Walton about it in an interview that I posted yesterday, so check that out. And he kind of half agreed with me. And the notion of multiple years in college is good for the game and good for them ultimately in the NBA, unless you're in one of those, the hardship case, which is what it used to be called, hardship, when you're destitute, your family has no money, and there's a great opportunity to now lift people out of poverty. I would never want to say no, don't take that money, but otherwise, as far as development goes, and even mentally, multiple years in college is good. And
I'm curious, from like Kentucky fans in general, you've had teams that from as soon as Calipari got there in the John Wall Boogie days, they're there for 1 year and then they're gone. They have a different team every single year, it feels like. They have the occasional Terrence Jones, the occasional Willie Cauley-Stein, but do they enjoy seeing different players every single year? I don't. Again, I'm a Carolina fan, and I'm blessed this year to have Bryce Johnson and Marcus Page. They've been there a long time. I don't know if I'd be as attached to them. They'll always be my school, but emotionally, I won't be as invested unless I feel like I've been with these guys from the beginning.
Mm-hmm. I agree. You know them. They're like part of your family almost.
And that's the reason why mid-majors are coming up through the ranks, because they have a lot of good basketball players that won't make the NBA. They become a team. Mm-hmm. Is that good for college basketball? Is that good for the product? And is that good to make it mainstream? I don't think so. A lot of college basketball traditionalists will love it, but you need the Kentuckys, you need the Carolinas, you need the Dukes to bring in the ad dollars and the ratings and everything.
I guess, but I love when those mid-majors beat those teams.
We all do.
Love it.
Any basketball fan is rooting for the 16 to beat the 1 every single time in March Madness, regardless if it's your team or not, right?
Right.
So I'm speaking more towards the business model of it. And I think they're running into a problem of the bigger schools' fan bases are becoming less attached to their alumni versus the past. They're still very much fans. I don't want to make it sound like they're not. That's just the way I feel. Which leads me into switching gears slightly. I just talked about going abroad for a year, potentially if you want to skip college.
Right.
Giannis Antetokounmpo came from Greece. It's the perfect example of he came in young, but he's been abroad his entire life. Mm-hmm. You're the X's and O's guy on the internet. Let's be honest. At least in this room. Okay?
Yeah. Okay.
Recently, the Bucks, I think they've been playing 500 ball, which is good for them. They've switched, with Michael Carter-Williams out, they've switched Giannis to play point guard. This is a 6'9", 8-foot whatever wingspan dude playing point guard in the NBA. And he is putting up triple doubles every single night. So since you're the coach, I want to ask you, are we seeing a new age in basketball where athletic big guys, and I'll give you a couple examples after you're done doing your spiel. Mm-hmm. Is this the age of moving small forwards to point guard because it's working? He's putting up the numbers and they're still winning games. The Bucks aren't good as a team. Could we be seeing this? Is the point guard dying out? The big man is clearly dying out with small ball, but are we going to see big men who adapt to guard play?
Okay. Well, here's the thing. We've seen this before. Magic Johnson is the prototypical guy, was nowhere near the athlete, even though he was a good athlete back in the day, but he's not like this. Kevin Durant is a great example of, he would have been a center back in the day. They would have forced him to eat and bulk up and then be this big center. That's what he would have done. So, we've kind of seen this, but I don't think we've ever seen a guy like Giannis. This guy has the length and the athletic ability like a Michael Jordan, an explosion, and the length and the height. So I don't know how. It feels still rare to me that you're going to be able to find guys like that. That said, there is probably 10-year-olds who are on that trajectory who would have been, again, like a Durant kind of guy who could watch Giannis instead and be like, oh, that's what I want to do. And man, is that going to be scary.
Well, you've seen, it was against the Nets. A lot of people claimed it was a travel. He went 3/4 of the floor in 3 dribbles. In his first dribble, he wasn't even running yet.
Yeah.
He went the entire court in 3 dribbles, and he took off from the foul line practically and dunked it. So I think of Brandon Ingram from Duke.
Yeah.
Tall, lanky dude could be the next Giannis. Anthony Davis. There are more than one Giannis out there. And the names I wrote down, LeBron, Rudy Gay, Wiggins, Paul George, Will Barton, and even someone like a Mario Hezonja. Doesn't have the athleticism of the other guys, but those are examples of shooting guards and small forwards that could play point guard at any time. And if this Giannis thing continues to work, what is stopping the Kings? They've already talked about cherry picking. What if they just get rid of Rondo and say, Rudy Gay, you're playing point guard from now on? I feel like that could work.
Really? I mean, here's the thing. Okay, because this whole even the notion of point guard is an interesting question. Because do you need that guy from that position to be like the guy who's distributing and all that stuff? I would argue no. Like Scottie Pippen is a good example, back in the day where he was just like the distributing player. They didn't, B.J. Armstrong wasn't that guy. John Paxson wasn't. So yes, as long as you have one of those guys, whatever position it is, it can work, and it can work really, really well. But what's not fair with Giannis is that he could block the shot, corral it, and then lead the break and dunk it. Or he can grab the rebound and the same thing. That's when it's not fair, because when a guy like that, he can handle the ball and get the rebound, all the other players get much better because they just have to sprint down and fill a lane and either get an open shot or an open drive, or he's going to dunk it too. And then they're going to continue to focus on him and make it easier for everybody else. And that's the special sauce that we have here, is that what he can do defensively, then come down and do that is what is unfair.
Well, I think Sean Livingston has proven you don't need the athleticism. He's had more surgeries than anybody in the league, it feels like at this point.
Yeah.
He is a tall point guard who doesn't have the athleticism of a Giannis or any of those guys I mentioned. He still dominates. I know he's on the Warriors, but if he gets anyone that is 2 inches or smaller than him in the post, he has a special talent set that as soon as you get him in the ball, it's buckets every single time.
Yeah.
He doesn't have the defensive capabilities of those guys or Giannis, but I can't tell you the last time Sean Livingston was on the floor against just a normal NBA point guard and didn't dominate. I feel like we're moving towards, if you're a smaller point guard, you don't really serve a purpose in this league anymore. There will always be room for the Westbrooks and the Currys. I'm talking about the
Isaiah Thomas?
The Isaiah Thomases. What would he do if he had to guard Rudy Gay all game? He would have to score every single possession to make up for what he's worth.
Well, that is one of the keys, right? You have to be able to do something to balance that out. And you know what? It's interesting, because you're right. Like Isaiah Thomas, I want to give him the benefit of the doubt. He's a bulldog, and he can try and get up in you. But you're right. He would not be able to stop Rudy Gay.
And you would have to almost change your philosophy to go into the half court, because Rudy Gay, he can't run the floor like Rondo.
Right.
He can't command a fast break offense. However, if you slowed the game down to half court, Rudy Gay, he's a very good ball handler. He could easily beat a point guard up the floor. I'm saying if they ran an actual offense for once versus transition, that's when the height comes into play.
Yeah, no, I agree. The funny thing is, out of the total percentage of possessions that are transition, generally, it's like 15%, 16%. So even when you think about going up and down, it's still not like a ton of possessions every game. Anyway, you're going to get all those half court no matter what. So, that would be it would be kind of sad. I like the little guy, and I love being able to see him do his damage. And I would consider Steph, he's like 6'2" or 6'3", like one of those guys as well. But I don't know. I would hope that it would still be somewhat of an anomaly that we're going to see 6'9" guys. I love it too. I respect it. It's really awe-inspiring. But man, if everybody had that, I don't know. You're right. The game would be completely different.
There's so many. I'll leave you with this. There's so many players. Again, I love the Ingram example, because I feel like he could play point guard in the NBA. I know he does. He's young and the skills are raw, but just from the flashes I've seen, the big man is losing his role in today's NBA just style of play. We're seeing less and less dominant big guys. There's only one DeAndre Jordan, Boogie, Anthony Davis, versus for every one great big man there is in the NBA, there are 3 freaks of nature, small forwards, and there are 5 point guards. So there's going to be large humans being born that play basketball. I feel like they're going to have to start in AAU ball in high school and college, learning guard skills.
Yeah,
that's how I think the culture of the game is.
And by the way, I don't think it's Ingram. I think it's Ben Simmons. I think he's the guy that would be. I saw him in the summer against the top talent in the high school at his level, and he was throwing 50-foot alley-oops on the money, like perfect timing. And then you go watch him in college, and he's playing like a forward in the 90s.
Yeah.
He's like literally just screening, rolling. But I mean, it's horrible. So and he still did well. He got good numbers. So you're right. There's a new crop, and then without question, we're moving toward bigger players with more perimeter skills. We can't lose the post up though, because the post up gets you the 3.
Okay. I'm cool with that.
That's good. You don't have to be.
No, I'm cool with that.
Okay.
I'd tell you if I wasn't, though.
You would? All right.
Yeah. Okay, let's switch gears while we're talking about different styles of play. The Olympics is approaching. It's coming up in August. Some of you that are watching this know I obsess over the Olympics. I love how the international play, anything involving the USA as a country, whether it's soccer or Michael Phelps swimming, I just enjoy the pageantry of the Olympics. Specifically, our basketball team, because you have to, Coach K, Popovich, everyone on that staff, I think Boeheim might still be on it, they have to pick, and Jerry Colangelo is, I think, the artist of it all. You have to pick 12 players to be on this team. And it's such an interesting facet to me because right now there's 30 finalists I have written down to make sure I didn't miss anybody. How do you pick 12 players from these 30? And there are 30 NBA superstars, in my opinion. There's maybe 10 elite players, then there's superstars, then there's all-star / good players, and then everybody else. These 30 all have, you could make an argument, each of these guys should be on our national team.
Right.
So I'm going to go through who I consider to be on this team. I want you to give me critiques, and you guys too. The locks, no questions asked. LeBron James, Kevin Durant, CP3, Russell Westbrook, Stephen Curry, Anthony Davis, Carmelo Anthony. And the reason I'm going to get some flack on Carmelo, but you have 2 reasons. USA, being a veteran, is important. These guys all started on that 08 team, the Redeem team together. You don't just kick someone off this team, especially the best FIBA player in the world. Those refs do not call anything in the Olympics. They are all international refs, and they hate the United States. Right. You need someone that can get grown man buckets. No one gets grown man buckets like Melo, and there's a reason why he always leads the team in scoring in the Olympics. He has to be on the Olympic team, regardless of how bad the Knicks are or how selfish he looks currently on the court. I get it, okay? You don't kick Melo off a street ball team. He gets buckets.
Well, the thing about Melo is interesting is that being the 3rd best player on the team means he's the best player on the team. And it's why we don't see him win a championship like in the league. He was the best. He's offensively, he was the best player because he could just sort of be that role player, and he'd lead the team in scoring, even though he's got the other guys. So without question, now do we think he's going to play, or is he going to be beat up and needs to rest?
He could rest. This is strictly who's going to get invited as the final 12. He could pass it up, but if Melo's healthy, I think he plays. Okay. Because he loves playing in the All-Star game for some reason. He waited to do his surgery last year until after the All-Star game just so he could play. Okay. He likes being recognized for being a superstar. I think he needs that reinforcement. Yeah. Otherwise, he's not going to feel like a superstar anymore. So you've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7.
You didn't put Harden in there, huh?
I'm getting there.
Okay.
I'm getting there. That's 7. Likely, very likely in. Kawhi Leonard, Paul George.
Yeah, for sure.
That's 9. Now, we have front court to deal with because the front court is stacked. But I don't think the United States will take more than 2 centers because they traditionally never have. And we have so many elite superstars at the point guard position that you can't pass those guys up. So the front court is Boogie, Drummond, Blake Griffin, DeAndre Jordan, Kevin Love, and Draymond Green. My 2 picks are Boogie and then whoever plays better between Draymond and Blake in the playoffs. And people are going to yell at me for not picking Dre right off the bat. But you got to remember, Blake Griffin was an MVP candidate before he got hurt. Yeah. The guy is an absolute superstar. He's very unlikable, but talent-wise, he should be on this team. I'm willing to give Dre the benefit of the doubt that if he outplays him in camp during tryouts and in the playoffs, he should get it over Blake Griffin. But I've got Boogie and I've got Dre in my front court backing up Anthony Davis. Any gripes?
No, I mean I think Draymond only because of the defense that Blake won't bring. And you know, if it's Popovich, like they're going to value that probably more than anything else. Because remember, they could go regardless of position, just about. They could at the top. They could choose 10 small forwards and probably win this thing, right? I mean, there's a couple teams that are going to be like Marc Gasol, whatever, going to go down low, but you know what I mean? If you get a bunch of guys that are 6'8", 6'9", like we talked about, like Giannis kind of things, it won't matter. They're that good. So I think Draymond's going to be that X factor. I think he is. And that, by the way, that's a good question. Has he eclipsed Blake Griffin anyway? On his role on his team?
The answer is yes. But on a team of superstars in camp when they're trying out, that will be the most fun battle to watch.
Yeah, and he's going to battle. Draymond will.
They don't like each other to begin with.
Yeah, no.
You know, Kay's going to put them on opposite teams on the blue-white scrimmage, so that they can compete. Yeah. He wants to be able to take one of those guys.
I mean, I've seen Draymond go at it with the teammates in training camp. Like he's not going to, we're just getting warmed up for the season. No, he's going to be full on. Yeah, that'll be great, and I hope they televise that. That stuff.
They usually do. They put it on NBA TV, I think, a couple times, but it'll be fun to watch. No chance whatsoever. And this isn't saying these are bad players. They're just not going to make the team, unfortunately. LaMarcus Aldridge, Harrison Barnes, Bradley Beal, Mike Conley, DeMar DeRozan, Kenneth Faried, Rudy Gay, Gordon Hayward, Dwight Howard, Andre Iguodala. I don't think any of those guys have a right to be on because there's one spot left. I've only named 11, and there's 4 players that deserve it. Jimmy Butler, John Wall, James Harden, Kyrie Irving. I'm sorry, there's 2 spots left. You got to pick 2 from that list.
Oh, I don't know if I put Kyrie. I mean, I love Kyrie, but I wouldn't put him in there either.
I agree.
I mean, I think Butler should be in there.
We have 3 point guards already: CP3, Westbrook, and Steph.
Yeah, so you don't need any more.
Correct. That's why John Wall is going to be left off the list.
Probably.
And he shouldn't be because he's so damn good.
Right.
But he's going to be pissed about it. Unfortunately for him, he's not a top 3 point guard in the league. That's how stacked the league is with point guards.
Was Steph on the 2012 team? Probably not, right? Steph wasn't on the last Olympic team.
No.
So, because I was thinking he might say, I've won 2 championships or whatever he's going to do and tired, but
that'd be huge.
But he probably won't because he didn't play in 20. If he had played in 2012, I might say he might not do it. But I
think he will
sure
this
he'll
year.
Do it,
yeah.
So
I'm sorry.
So you're right.
So you need it is one spot. So now you have to pick between Jimmy Butler and Harden. And anyone that knows me knows how much I dislike James Harden as a basketball player. But I truly believe Coach K believes in this like you are the incumbent from the 2012 team. Mm-hmm. He was on that team, and he did come in second. You have to respect his accomplishments of being second in the MVP race. Jimmy Butler hasn't been on an Olympic team yet, and I think Coach K values his relationships with the players since he started doing this with the 08 team. He's, as much as Jimmy Butler is a better overall basketball player, in my opinion, than James Harden, you can't kick him off this round. Maybe the next round they'll take the new coach Popovich will take Jimmy over Harden.
Right.
But I can't kick Harden off.
Right.
And I would love to. I'd love nothing more than to watch James Harden have to watch from home because he doesn't play defense. And he probably won't in the Olympics as well. He got no play time in the last Olympics for a reason.
Right.
He doesn't play defense.
Well, we'll see. I mean, you remember the Rockets fans better hope he gets it on because remember when he played in the World Championships, he came back in shape, ready to go, and had a great season and just terrorized everybody. Well, and then this season, I think the argument was he came back, he wasn't quite in shape a little bit, he wasn't focused, and this is what we had. The Rockets maybe make the playoffs, maybe don't. Okay. So I don't know. It's an interesting argument. I wonder if it'll be different because Popovich because Popovich is coaching, right? He's taking over this year.
I believe this is K's final Olympics.
Oh, it's his final Olympic. Okay.
And then Popovich takes over.
Okay, so you're right. There's definitely an argument there that Harden will be brought back, but we'll see.
And real quick, my rotation. Now you have to pick who plays amongst those 12 players. I've got Chris Paul at the 1, Steph Curry at the 2, Durant at the 3, LeBron at the 4, Anthony Davis at the 5. And the reason why I don't start Russ is because he demands the ball. You can't put CP3 and Russ out there at the same time because that just renders CP3 useless. Steph Curry can play without the ball. He loves running off ball screens. I think he'd almost prefer not to have the ball at times. Mm-hmm. That's why CP3 is out there. He's the United States' floor general.
Yeah. He
will set up Stephen Curry better than anybody. That's when you bring in Russ, you take both of them out, you bring in Kawhi, Paul George, and Boogie, and then you've got Russ dominating the ball.
Yeah.
So that's my rotation. I think people will argue that Russ has to be on the starting team. There's too many chefs in the kitchen if Russ is on the court with Durant, LeBron, and Curry. And I know he does that. I know he does that currently with Durant, but you can't have 4 out there.
I would love to see it because that would kind of force for us to be off the ball, and I think that's where he'd be best at anyway. But I see that. I think it's an issue. I mean, someone who deserves to start is not going to, but you can't say no to Steph, and you can't say no to CP3.
Okay, so that's on the horizon. Also on the horizon is an election. Presidential election. Now this is the part of the program where I start testing the waters a little bit. I feel like we've gotten the serious stuff out of the way.
You want to go there?
Yeah.
Okay.
I'm sure this will get 0 reaction whatsoever. But I have gone as far as comparing the political presidential candidates, the ones that have come and gone, to NBA players. And I want your critique on these. Right. I want y'all's too. Okay? You ready for this?
I'm ready.
Donald Trump.
Yeah.
My Donald Trump in the NBA is Russell Westbrook.
Oh, jeez.
Because he's the best player on the court, and you never know what to expect with him.
Okay. I certainly never know what to expect with Donald Trump, but I don't know if he would be considered the best player on the court. That's the only issue here.
Okay, let me rephrase that. The most dominating presence on your television screen when he's on.
Okay, okay, that I can follow for sure.
Okay.
So that's not bad. It's not bad. I don't know if Russ would like it, but
I don't care what Russ likes. I'm making comparisons here.
All right. I mean, because I don't know if anybody would want to be compared to Trump right at this point.
Okay, so we got Westbrook for Trump. I've got Blake Griffin for Ted Cruz because he's incredibly hateable, but you can't deny his talent as a politician. He's gotten to the point of this in his political career. Nobody likes Blake Griffin unless you're a Clippers fan. Yeah. Nobody likes Ted Cruz unless you're a Cruz fan.
Well, in fairness to Blake, he is funny, right? Blake Griffin's a very funny guy.
He used to be.
And, I mean, he does these hilarious commercials, and he's got that, Ted Cruz is that tool at the party that you're like, oh, why is he here? You know what I mean? He's just like that nervous energy thing.
I feel like NBA players feel like that with Blake now, though. They're like, oh, great, the Clippers are here.
Yeah, right. Okay,
Like the assholes are here telling us about their beliefs and shit. And they're like, all right, we're out of here.
Yeah, okay. Yeah, the company picnic, I guess. Okay, what do you got next?
Marco Rubio. Political candidates are he's no longer running for president, but Marco Rubio, I have Joe Johnson. 7-time All-Star. He's got awards up the wazoo, but all he does is exist, and he can never be your party's best player if you want to win. He can be your third best player.
Right.
He can be your VP, and you can win. Maybe your second best player. You cannot win an election. You cannot win an NBA championship with Joe Johnson, Marco Rubio, as your leader. Mm-hmm. Is that a fair? Yeah,
I guess. I mean, because to me, Rubio's like that, like the younger brother who keeps tagging along and like wants to be part of the in crowd, and like to me, it's almost like Mario Chalmers. And it's like a little yell at him and just treat him crappy. So that just popped in my head, by the way. I don't even know, but that's why I think Rubio is a guy. He's just like an annoying younger brother who won't shut up and won't leave you alone.
That's my favorite comparison. I don't know why. Just because, again, he just kind of exists. Like Marco Rubio's there. He's there. And he's talented. It's just like, do something.
Yeah, right. Have an impact.
He's very down the middle.
Yeah.
He gets his paycheck and he goes home. He does his job well. He goes home. He's always been middleman.
Right.
Everything.
Yeah.
Joe Johnson is very middleman NBA. He has the talent set. He'll do what you need, but he won't win you a championship. Moving on. Ohio Governor Kasich, I have as Damian Lillard because he's likable. I'd say 9 out of 10 mainstream NBA fans like Damian Lillard,
mm-hmm.
and he's underappreciated. He doesn't make the All-Star team. He doesn't make the Olympics.
Right.
Yeah. He's not going to get the recognition he deserves, but people realize he's a presence.
Yeah, and he's like sneaky cool. For sure, that's a good comparison from both those ends.
Next one, Chris Christie, Dwight Howard. And I said Dwight Howard because he was once a man amongst mere mortals. Everyone found out he's a fraud, and now nobody cares about him anymore.
Okay, so Dwight is a fraud, huh?
I think Dwight's a fraud.
Wow. I mean, I guess Chris Christie is too. He's sort of
He sold out. He was beloved in New Jersey when he got elected. And then the scandal started. You have your Dwight Howard changing agents because he wants to be represented as the same guy as Superman.
Yeah, right.
Shaquille O'Neal.
Okay.
Like, he jumps from team to team. He is Chris Christie of the NBA.
Right.
Like, he has no loyalties to anything but himself, and he'll sell his soul just to get to the top. He's willing to sell his soul to the Donald Trump of the NBA.
Yeah. Well, I guess we have to watch the Dwight Howard press conferences now to see if he's signaling with his eye blinking, please help me, let me out, do something, Yeah, that's brutal. I mean, certainly Christie has fallen from grace without question.
Okay. 3 more. Ben Carson, Meta World Peace. Nut job, but he has repaired his persona over time, yet we ask ourselves, why is he still in the league? Why is this guy still in politics?
Yeah, that's
like your time's over. We recognize that you coherently know what you're doing at times. You're not crazy anymore, just a little bit crazy,
right? And
can be crazy, but I think it's time to go.
Yeah, no, that's a really good one. That's a great comparison. Meta World Peace, his eyes are open a lot wider than Ben Carson's.
Yes,
he looks more awake.
Now let's get to the Democrats real quick. Hillary Clinton, I think this one's easy. LeBron James, most qualified, disliked by half the country, and hasn't won as much as you'd expect.
Wow, that's really good. Yes.
LeBron should have 6 titles. He should have 6 rings. Let's be honest.
Okay.
He's been the best player on earth for almost the last decade. But when you go to an NBA Finals with Jamario Moon, Anthony Parker, Zydrunas Ilgauskas, and Delonte West,
it's a little tough.
Now is his time to shine.
On that team, right?
Booby, he was probably the second best player on that team.
Yeah. So yes, that's true. Although, is it fair to say that she hasn't won as much as she had? I mean, she's a senator and she was a Secretary of State. I mean, she's pretty accomplished as well. But there's definitely that same sort of almost irrational hate.
Well, yeah, she is accomplished. LeBron's accomplished. He's got MVPs, gold medals, and 2 titles. But you have that feeling of he should be the best.
Okay.
Let's prove it. Now it's time to prove it.
That's good. It's very astute.
And last one, Bernie Sanders, I have as Steph Curry, because just when you think he's dead, he will do something ridiculous, throw up a full court buzzer beater, and win the state of Michigan when everyone is sleeping, and he's still there. They never dies.
Yeah,
Hillary has the safest lead in electoral college caucus history, just because Bernie Sanders always has the ability to throw it up late at night and it's going to go in. That's why I came up with that.
All right, that's good. I hear you. Okay. We saw Bernie Sanders shoot, by the way, and he's lucky he's in politics. I'll say that.
Keep his day job, right?
Yeah.
All right, quick hitters for you.
Okay.
We're going to wrap this up here. So we're filming this on Friday after Matt Barnes chased John Henson off into the tunnel, into the locker room, and went into the Bucks locker room trying to fight him. It was because I think Henson flagrant fouled Lance Stevenson. Then he stuffed Matt Barnes, and he was up in his face. And of course, Matt Barnes doing his thing that he's always done throughout his career, came back at him and then chased him. So my question to you is there any team in NBA history who could beat up the Grizzlies in a street fight? And I want to go over again who the Grizzlies have for those that are new to this. Matt Barnes, Lance Stevenson, Birdman, Tony Allen, Zebo.
Yeah.
Those are their big 5 in terms of fighting. Is there a better 5 in NBA history? Don't say the Portland Jailblazers, because they had Zebo on that team.
Okay.
They cancel each other out.
Okay, fair
But
enough.
I don't think the Jailblazers could beat up this current Grizzlies team.
I mean, a guy like Rasheed Wallace is probably more of like a hold me back kind of guy rather than a really want to
You think so? I think Sheed would throw down in a heartbeat.
Really? I don't know. I feel like a lot of it and maybe ended up being, like just I'm going to make you back down because I don't really I don't know. Maybe that's just my impression, but it's been a while since we've seen Sheed, do that. But okay, so who do you have then? Who do you think is
the 90s thug ball Knicks, but I only can think of 3 guys on that team, Starks, Oakley, and Mason, that you feel like you could get shanked in an alley.
Yeah.
When you're near those guys.
Right, but Ewing has something there. I don't think he's not.
Is he a fighter? I don't think he's a fighter. He was a great basketball player, and he was part of that culture. Yeah. But he wouldn't. Oh no,
but Derek Harper.
You think Derek Harper?
Derek Harper threw like JoJo White in the stands in front of Stern. I was at that game. I think that was what it was. Okay. He's got that look. He's got some junkyard dog in him for sure.
And what about the bad boy Pistons?
That's the other thing. Yeah. Now collectively they kind of terrorized the league for those few years, but you look at like Bill Laimbeer, he's dirty, but he's not like in a fight. He's not going to beat you up. Rick Mahorn is the one guy who would drop you and that'd be it. And Isaiah Thomas would sucker punch you and then run. Right, you're right. Dumars wouldn't do it, so you're right. Yeah. It's got to be the Knicks.
Laimbeer would be in the alley saying, "Where y'all at? Come and fight me!" And he'd be the first one to get a bottle cracked over his head by Lance Stevenson coming out of a dumpster, and then he would bash his teeth in. Laimbeer was not meant for a street fight. Right. This current Grizzlies team, I am convinced, is the best street fighting team of all time. I'll put them up against in any alley against any five that you bring from basketball ever. Maybe we're missing a team like a Sonics team with Sean Kemp and I don't know, But again, I need five. Yeah, right. Otherwise, it's 3-on-5 or 4-on-5.
Right. No, you're right. This definitely, I think, pound for pound takes the cake.
Gun to your head. If you were starting a blank team tomorrow, no contracts, expansion NBA team, you get to pick one player from the NBA currently. Who are you taking?
Oh my goodness gracious! It's tough because I would say Steph, but you have to go over a big man, right? Usually the big men are the harder guys to find. Yeah, gosh.
I'll give you mine while you think.
Yeah.
I'm taking Russell Westbrook, and I'm not taking Steph Curry because I need a guy that's going to be able to play on a team like that can do everything. Are we sure Steph Curry could be Steph Curry on the Sixers currently? I think Westbrook could be Westbrook on the Sixers. I don't know if Steph Curry could be Steph Curry on the Sixers. And someone asked me on Twitter, if you put Steph Curry on Little Rock, Arkansas of this March Madness tournament, would they win the whole tournament? And I said no. I said, but with Westbrook, yes. Because he's as good at times doing things on the defensive side as Steph Curry is on the offensive side. And Russ is in the same atmosphere. Yeah. When I'm watching Westbrook stuff centers, I think we need to put some clips over what I'm saying right now in this video.
Okay.
Westbrook annihilating NBA centers at the rim. No one in the league does that at the point guard position.
Yeah, I guess. But, remember, if we've learned anything from the Spurs in the Tim Duncan era, it's that when you want to start a team and build the culture, however much Pop was able to put that in, it couldn't happen without Tim Duncan. And I don't know if Russell Westbrook's that guy that you'd want to be able to have at the top. I really don't. I feel like there's too much other things.
Is he too radical at times?
Well, he's unstable. He gets crazy and he gets off balance and he starts throttling at the rim. And I just have a hard time with all of it, the whole package.
We don't have to agree on everything.
No, absolutely not. And so, so I wouldn't start with Russ. I mean, do I start with Steph or do I choose the safe Anthony Davis? Because everyone should do that. And here's a guy who just fills the stat sheet up, but he can't propel them to victory.
Would you take Anthony Davis over Kawhi Leonard? That's a legit conversation we need to start having.
Well, I got screwed on Twitter or whatever you want to call it on Twitter by saying that we need to consider Kawhi, the best player in the league. And I might take Kawhi. I swear, I might take him over Anthony Davis.
They played no one was really watching against the Trailblazers, but the fact that this guy is shooting so well from three-point land now is not fair. Right. He used to be just a defensive stopper that could get the occasional post bucket. His post game is elite.
Yeah.
His 3-point game is elite. He's almost better than Steph when it comes to 3-point shooting. He's up there with JJ Redick.
Yeah.
And he shoots contested threes, not just spot up threes like Danny Green. He creates his own threes now.
Mm-hmm.
He doesn't get any publicity other than that great Sports Illustrated profile on him. That's the way he wants it. Nobody knows how good this guy is.
I know.
And I would say his defense makes him better as a franchise starter than Anthony Davis. I thought I would never say that.
Yeah, no, I agree. There. I had people say, "Oh, Kawhi can't create for his teammates," and it was I tweeted back saying 2014 wants their tweet back because it's true. People must not have been watching him this year. And I finally said to a guy because he's scoring 21. Well, that's not 25. I'm like, how many possessions do I need to show you of him isolating or, doing an aggressive move, step back, and knocking down a jumper to you understand? Just let me know the number, and I will provide those clips for you.
And he plays on the Spurs. So all five guys touch the ball.
Right.
They're not featuring Kawhi Leonard rarely ever.
Well, I mean,
unless Popovich goes out of his way to do it.
To be fair, they do. I mean, he certainly this year more than ever, but because he is that good now. And it is truly frightening. How old is he now?
24.
He's not 25, yeah. I mean,
I think someone said 24.
because you can still improve here. He can get better at up to 25.
That's what people
26.
don't get is that just because DeAndre Jordan is terrible from the free throw line and throughout his career he hasn't had post moves. I've seen post moves recently from DeAndre Jordan. I go, what the heck was that?
Yeah.
People can get better. Just because who you are doesn't mean you're there for the rest of your NBA career. People will always think of Kawhi Leonard as defense first. I'm here today arguing that you need to know Kawhi Leonard potentially is offense first. That's how good he has gotten.
Wow. Bold words.
Okay. Last thing. Wrestlemania is coming too. We've talked about politics. We've talked about the Olympic team. I'm a big WWE guy. WrestleMania is coming at the end of the month. So after Barnes chased Henson into the tunnel, it inspired me to think of what an NBA WrestleMania card. That's why I asked you about the street fight. What an current NBA WrestleMania card would look like. So it has to be with current narratives and dilemmas and problems that are going on in the league right now.
Okay.
I want you to give me your results of my propositions.
Lay mommy.
For the Intercontinental title, I've got Matt Barnes versus John Henson, and Derek Fisher is going to intervene with a chair when the ref is not looking. I think Henson wins because of that.
Oh, I see. So Henson's going to hit Barnes.
So Barnes should win that fight.
Absolutely.
Because I think there are a lot of people that say Barnes is a fake tough guy. I think he's a legit OG.
Yeah.
He should win that fight, but Fisher will come out from under the ring, crack him over the head, and run away and take his girl with him. Take his former ex-wife and wave bye.
Wow. Yeah. And maybe send some other Snapchats while he's on the way out, too. Okay, yes. I'll go with that for sure.
Okay.
Yeah.
Divas. There's always a Divas fight.
Okay.
The Divas, I've got Lance versus LeBron. Back from the Pacers versus Heat days.
Oh, yeah.
Blowing in the air.
Yeah.
They're both not I'm sorry. They're not... Lance... I would consider Lance a fighter, but LeBron is the diva of the league. We could all... Even LeBron fans can...
Yeah, that's an entertaining card for sure.
Okay. I think LeBron wins. Tag team. I've got DeAndre Jordan and Steve Ballmer from the summer versus Dirk Nowitzki and Mark Cuban in a tag team match.
Okay. So who wins that, though?
Well, no one should be able to... DeAndre Jordan's like the big show.
Yeah.
Giant dude that should never lose. But he always finds a way to lose. Like, how's that guy not win every single time? He should never get pinned.
Yeah.
You've got Dirk. He's German. Europeans are scrappy, dude.
Yeah, right.
Especially with Cuban. I think he could outwit Ballmer, even though Ballmer may be worth more than Cuban. I sense a little bit of an underdog victory.
But Ballmer's got all sorts of crazy going on in that head, man.
That's his problem, though.
Well, I know.
He's like the Russell Westbrook of owners. You never know if he's going to get on the court and do his little dance and cause a technical foul, and you'll get blindsided by Cuban.
Okay, I'm telling you, he gets that crazy eye, and it's like it could be over for everybody.
Okay, true. So that is which Ballmer shows up to that fight.
Right.
Okay. No disqualification. I've got Russell Westbrook versus Patrick Beverley. Let them two just scrap it out for once. They hate each other so much back from the days that Bev dove and Russ thought he did it on purpose, and Bev's I sort of did it on purpose. Let those two just claw each other's eyes out.
Yeah, no, that would be good. That would be bloody. It'd be,
I don't think Russ would lose that.
No.
Hell in a Cell. I've got Blake Griffin versus the Clippers trainer. And this should be a Blake Griffin dominant victory, but the same way Shane McMahon goes into the cage sometimes and comes out the victor, he's scrappy. He's obviously gets under Blake Griffin's skin. Could this be an upset?
I don't know.
I would take the trainer here.
Really?
Yeah.
Wow. I think from what we saw before, his face was the one that took the brunt of that. I don't know. I have to go with Blake on that one.
Two more. There's always the throwback. So there's Triple H this year. The Undertaker comes back. Occasionally The Rock. My throwback fight for the NBA would be Ron Artest and Captain Steven Jackson, from the days of the Malice at the Palace, versus Charles Oakley and Anthony Mason. Rest in peace.
Yeah. Wow.
Who you taking in a tag team between those two?
I got to tell you, people don't remember Anthony Mason and Charles Oakley maybe, but those guys were... there was nobody tougher than them. So I'm going to have to pick them. They were serious.
Michael Jordan hired Charles Oakley as his bodyguard.
Right.
That's how dominant he was on the court physically.
Yeah.
How intimidating he is.
Yeah, and then he walked around with like those Matrix long coats and stuff too, which is hilarious.
We talked about this would be crazy versus toughness.
Yeah, I mean Oakley menaced me on Twitter, man. So it's like he's serious. He's all business.
That is the prototype loony bin versus true fighters.
Right.
I'll take, because I'm a Knicks fan, I'll take the Knicks there.
Yeah.
And then my heavyweight championship final fight of the card, I think it's the fight everyone wants to see in today's NBA, Zach Randolph versus Boogie Cousins. Boogie has intimidated him on the court, but we've seen Zebo with his flip phone in the locker room, okay? Mm-hmm. This guy's got connections. And it's not just the connections part. He's into shit that most people wouldn't ever want to touch. So you've got Boogie, who can snap on you in a heartbeat and kind of Mortal Kombat, rip the spine out of your body and then wear it around like a hat.
Yeah, right.
Versus Zebo, who's just born with this gene. He's on the list forever.
Right.
Who you got?
You know, Boogie has the reach, right? In theory.
Okay.
And that might actually...
Zebo wants to fight on the ground now.
Right,
He'll take you to the ground and brawl
you
you.
got to get inside.
Yeah.
So, you know, you got to... I don't know. And he's also lefty, you know, which is weird, you know.
Southpaw.
So, you know what? I think I might go with the lower base and the animal, you know, real instincts there. Okay. So I can go with Zebo.
Okay.
So
that's all I got.
Well, that's a lot, man. That was great stuff. I mean, I can't believe that we went from politics to wrestling to everything. That was, you know, a great another episode of casual conversation.
We got next episode 2 in the books. Maybe we'll do episode 3.
Yeah, we'll have to find out.
Maybe I'll change my pants.
Yeah, and wash your feet.
Come on, those are clean. It's just the flip flops.
Right, we'll have to find out what the people say about the bullets.
Yeah, if we continue to do these, I'll wear a different jersey every single time. Today, this is Michael Jordan on the Wizards/Bullets.
I never noticed that the L's have jazz hands. That's kind of weird.
That's the old school Bullets logo.
I never noticed that before.
Badass.
Yeah, like hands up, don't shoot bullets. What's that about?
That's a different interpretation that I think they weren't going for it.
Well,
but I will wear a different jersey every single time we do this.
Okay.
And that's it, really.
Well, I can't thank you guys for joining us. Another great episode, and let's sign off like we usually do, which is, don't forget, sports fans, it's a channel. It's not a channel, actually. It's a conversation. You in? Are you in, Rob?
Yeah. Comment. I'll comment. I'll respond to the comments. We see them all. And if you disagree with my Olympics picks, let me know. If you disagree with my political associations, let us know. We'll see it. Any ways we can improve, we're here.
I'm in.